So on the Wizard Report, we have several podcast episodes talking about car sharing on the Getaround and the Turo platforms. And if you haven't heard, if you were, really interested in getting involved in car sharing, if you hadn't heard that Getaround announced, I believe it was last week, that they were going to completely close down their U.S. operations because of liquidity issues. And I don't know how Getaround lasted this long. I mean, we had 8 cars on that platform, and 5 of those cars were, had a few, frequent visits to the body shop, among other things. But Atlanta is a big market. I know it's a subset of the larger markets that they have throughout the United States. But just based on our own experiences, these people like to use our cars as bumper cars. They were like running into other people, running into walls, leaving them on the side of the road with no tires, all kind of shit. And guess what? While those cars were on their platform, Getaround's insurance had to cover that shit. So I don't know how they dealt with it. I mean, I thought that our stuff alone would have sank the company, but I know this stuff was going on in other major markets and also throughout Atlanta, because I had another mentee that had the same exact issues happening and ended up having his car shot up while he was, the car was taken to Philadelphia. I mean, the police were involved. They had to impound the vehicle because it was involved in a crime. So there's been all kinds of things happening with the Getaround platform. Them closing their operations was probably the best thing they probably could have done. I'm hoping Turo stays on board, but I know Turo has much more stringent qualifications for people to rent vehicles. Getaround was letting people rent cars with debit cards and had horrible backgrounds, and they were still letting them go through. We appreciate the money, but on the backside of it, we were still dealing with a lot of major, issues with body damage and cars being, have to go repossess vehicles. But anyway, if you're still thinking about doing car sharing, think about Turo only. I mean, that's your only option right now because Getaround bought out HireCar, and both of those have completely gone out of business. So it is still a viable business that you can think about doing that is relatively hands-off. You don't need to be present to rent a car. I mean, there's all kind of ways to do this and still maintain a full-time job. But keep that in mind. Getaround is no longer around. RIP, Getaround.